Shalom Aleichem. I'm here with Rabbi Davis in Doche, in a beautiful bungalow colony. And Rabbi Davis has a tremendous schus that Chazal tell us that mitzvah begadol, a specific mitzvah, that's specifically mitzvah begadol, and that is Pikuach Nefesh. The greater gadol there is, and there's a story with the Alter Rebbe about that, that the greater the gadol you are, the more gadol you have to deal with these inyanim of Pikuach Nefesh. Drop everything you're doing, even Chilul Shabbos, and leif to save a life. And Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Davis is involved in Hatzola, and I think he even teaches inyanim of Pikuach Nefesh, and that's Asher Chelkei V'Gadol Schusay. So because we teach Hilchos Shabbos and we teach inyanim Halacha, so I thought I'll spend some time. Mimenu Yiru V'Chen Yasir Rabim. We teach the halacha, but it's like I always say, we know what the korkavan may look like in the book, but you know what the korkavan is really all about. So if you could tell us a little shimush stories of Hilchos Shabbos issues or Pikuach Nefesh issues, and bring it to more reality, that will be very helpful. So maybe you want to start the conversation. It's just more of a conversation. I don't have any direct question. What people should be aware of Hilchos Shabbos, how to make life easier for those who may plan to want to help out and work in Hatzola, not work in Hatzola, what easy, hard. We're not having a long conversation, but just, again, Ashrei Chelkecha V'Gadol Schuscha.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi Willem. First, I want to start off by saying that whatever I say is just my personal words and is not endorsed by Chevra Hatzola, or am I going to be making psak halacha for anybody out there? I think the first thing when I get to halacha is that the ikar, when it comes to halacha, is maybe part of the Shulchan Aruch that you don't teach in your shiurim, or you can't teach, and that's what we refer to as the fifth.
That's a very important point, because when you're Shas Maisa Pikuach Nefesh, doesn't everything just disappear?
No, absolutely not. B'Shas Maisa, you have to be very focused on what you're doing. And you use the word in the introduction, and I would like to discuss the word. You use the word Chilul Shabbos. I disagree with that. And, and Doche, I think, would be maybe a better word. Hutra, because at that point, when a call goes out and some Aid is in distress and needs our assistance, the way that it was taught to me by, and I heard this by Rabbi Bistritsky from Eretz Yisrael, Olav Shalom, and his words were that to you it's Tuesday now. It's not Shabbos. Don't worry about Shabbos. The Ikar thing, and you mentioned the famous story of the Alter Rebbe, and you see clearly from that story that it was like a Tuesday. Wood needed to be chopped, and it had to be chopped. That's what had to be done.
Here's very interesting. Women, mothers, tend to become very frantic from a small thing. How do you draw the line when a mother could see a kid bleed, and it could be a nosebleed?
So this is an excellent question and something that I want to address. And the first thing is, as medical professionals, we see things very differently to how this stressed or distressed mother sees her bleeding child. And so, this is not necessarily from halacha, but from a standpoint of medicine, there is a cloud. The cloud that we follow is that the patient in emergency. The patient defines the emergency. If somebody feels that they need help, and they pick up the phone and they dial the number on Shabbos or Yom Tov, that's it. They need help. I can't come by and say, oh, this is not serious enough and you made me drive here. Chas v'shalom chalila v'chas. There's no such thing. They needed help. And the way we look at it, as you have to understand it from their perspective. They picked up a phone on Shabbos. Maybe for us, it's easy to jump into the car on Shabbos. We can discuss that soon. But think about what they have to do. They have something or whatever it may be, they don't know. They don't know. And so we come to what I think is referred to in halacha as a suffix. As a suffix Pikuach Nefesh, a very famous story from the Rebbe. I'll just say very bekitzer part of this story, and that is that in Lamed Ches, when the Rebbe suffered the heart attack, and there were many doctors there, as I'm sure everybody knows, or maybe not, they flew in a special doctor from Chicago, and he flew in on Yom Tov. And when he came in and they brought him from the airport, and remember it was Simchas Torah, Shmini Atzeres Simchas Torah, it was Yom Tov, it was no Chachmas, and he came in to the Rebbe's office, and he saw different doctors there. There was Dr. Feldman, there were other Kama V'Kama doctors that were there by the Rebbe. And he said, I made Chil Yom Tov because I came in all the way special. And the Rebbe himself answered him. This is a famous thing that we know in Hatzola, that even Sofik Pikuach Nefesh is Doche Shabbos in Yom Tov.
I never heard of the Rebbe say that.
This is from the Rebbe.
Wow.
And the story was confirmed by Dr. Feldman and others who were there.
Wow.
So, here you have a case that not every person in the world can be trained in medicine in order to know how bad is the bleed, or the cut, or the break, or v'chulu. You know, so it needs somebody from Chevra Hatzola to come out to them and to assess the situation. When they will get there, they will then make a decision. Is this something that the Hatzola member is capable and competent enough to treat, and then say, okay, after Shabbos, get further attention? For example, stitches. B'derech klal, we don't put stitches in on Shabbos. B'derech klal, doing stitches.
You don't do it anyway. I mean, do you drive them to do stitches?
So we would if it was during the week and if we felt it was necessary. But Shabbos, b'derech klal, it's usually not necessary. The actual stitching up is more cosmetic than healing.
Than a Band-Aid.
So bandages, and the ikka is to make sure the bleeding stops. So each Hatzola member has this type of education that helps him that he should be able to make the right decisions, whether it's Shabbos or even whether it's a Tuesday.
As you're speaking, I'm thinking, what happens? I mean, what happens if a frantic 12-year-old kid calls up? His mother is now. How do you deal with a kid? Obviously, a kid doesn't know if blood is serious or not.
Again, if we go back to what I said earlier, that the emergency is defined by the patient or the person that called. We get there, and then we will decide. We will take it from there. Maybe the mother was just sleeping. Maybe the mother was just had a headache.
Or
maybe
the mother was out.
Or maybe it was a very serious thing, and the child saved the life. We've had this many times, that a young child picked up the phone and called Hatzola, and we got there and we saved a parent's life. So just because it's a child does not mitigate the importance of what has to be done.
Okay, now Shulchan Aruch keeps on speaking about Makkah Shel Cholo being the gather of Pikuach Nefesh. I mean, it seems to be a inner Makkah, right? An infection, something something more vital. Could you define that? I mean, what do I know? I'm not in the medicine field. Define a little more for the simple amcha.
Again, until the first responder gets there, there is no way to know what we are going to. I can tell you many occasions that we were called out and it sounded like what we call a garnish of a garnish, and it turned out to be something very, very serious that their life needed saving.
Are you saying that anything that happens, they should call Hatzola? If something happens,
this discussion isn't really about when or where or what, who should call. We, b'derech klal, tell people if you're not sure, better to call.
Really?
Better to call. Absolutely. You should err on the side of cautiousness. And then we will get there and we will make that decision.
Even on Shabbos?
Even on Shabbos.
How do you deal with a break, a sprain, a bone sprain? How do you deal with that?
Again, the breaks and sprains and strains can only truly be diagnosed with an X-ray. So if we have the simonim and the person has the pain and we can see that it looks pretty bad, yes, then they will be splintered and transported to a hospital even on Shabbos.
And the second part, that the hospital will do even on Shabbos anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Because is that considered dangerous enough to be done on Shabbos?
Okay, so there are issues when a bone breaks. What happens is that, now we're going to go into a little bit of medicine, but the veins and arteries and nerves run alongside the bones. And sometimes, even if you can't see it from the outside, but when there's a break in the continuity of a bone, it could puncture a vein or an artery. If a vein or an artery gets punctured, this is already a sakana, and this has to be dealt with within a few minutes.
Okay, so I'm just thinking of general questions. A very high, severe migraine headache. I mean, is anything to be worried?
The derech klal with headaches, there's very little that we can do. There are certain headaches that will be, pain will be alleviated by the use of oxygen, which is something that every Hatzola member carries. Certain headaches will actually be helped by giving them oxygen. And again, if they feel they're in that level of pain and they need help, then they call us and we come and we do whatever we have to do.
Okay, so you're answering from your side of coming. My question is, the person Nebuch who's going through that, you're making it sound, whenever in doubt, better just go ahead and call.
Absolutely.
Because every person.
Absolutely.
Aren't you too quick on it? Aren't you giving eights?
No, because
we don't.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. Something that happened. I'm going to relate two stories together.
Yeah.
So I just came up here, like you said.
Here, meaning in the mountains.
Here in Doche, yes, like you said. I came up here Thursday evening, and 1 o'clock in the morning, there was a call from some experienced Hatzola members. They wanted a paramedic to come and look at a certain patient. So I came over there.
You want it,
yeah? Is Sarah from here?
No. I came over there and I see that I have a 30-year-old male patient with the signs and symptoms of possible heart attack.
This, by the way, has nothing to do with Shabbos. This is Thursday night.
So Thursday night. We're just going on to the topic of whether people should call or not. But derech klal, if you ask anybody in the medical field, can a 30-year-old have a heart attack? They're going to tell you 99% no. A 30-year-old can't have a heart attack.
Overweight?
He was not overweight. He had no family history or anything that we had to be concerned
He was
about.
alert talking to you?
Absolutely, 100%.
By the way, Rabbi Davis is a mumcha in the heart. That's why he's telling you that. He's a mumcha in the heart. He's smiling, but I know the hidden secret.
So that's why they called me. So, what was that? Oh, so I want to just relate another story that happened here in the Catskills last summer. Last summer, somebody went to the doctor, a male, 33-year-old, went to the doctor and wasn't feeling good. The doctor checked him over, couldn't see anything particularly wrong. The next day, he was feeling so bad, almost went out. They rushed him to the hospital. And it turned out that he had a massive heart attack. He was saved because Hatzola was there and quickly got him to a hospital, got him the right treatment that he needed. So here, my point is that in medicine, there's no 100%. There's no such thing that can't happen. Or, it's not going to be until a professional comes and checks over and we have, Baruch Hashem, very expensive equipment and we can do various testing. Until this is all done, there is no way that a lay person can just decide that, it's nothing.
Okay, so to be Messiah, for those who have an interest, A, to help people, and B, to have interest in medical, would you encourage them to get involved in Hatzola? Or would you say, it's a headache, if it's a cupfeitig, it's a mitzvah, there are other mitzvahs, give tzedakah better. What do you think?
I feel it's a tremendous schus to be part of Chevra Hatzola. It's mamash schus. It helps with one of the biggest mitzvahs in Torah. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamecha. When I'm in the city, I generally only see Lubavitcher patients, and when I'm up here, I'm seeing Yidden of all walks of life, from every different type of Chassidische Kreisen, every type of literature, and all types of Yidden. I don't see a way that you could be Mekayim mitzvah v'ahavta l'reacha kamecha in any better way. To me, that's what it is. You have to be totally dedicated. You mentioned, is it difficult? Yes, it's very difficult. And to get out of bed at 1:15 in the morning and to get dressed.
Like a fireman.
Exactly. You have to be up, get dressed, get out, get in your car. Up here, there's no lights on the roads. It's dark and there's no addresses. It's very easy to find, Carroll Street between Brooklyn and New York. Over here, it's not like that. It's way more difficult. And there's a huge island of Yidden that come up here from the city, and Baruch Hashem, we take care of them. And unfortunately, if we want to talk about safety issues, about people taking care, they have to really watch out on the roads, and they have to drive slower and more careful.
While you're on that topic, are there any other Vinish Martin Moed and
Schmeit? I mean,
we have a swimming pool here. As a Hatzola member, what other issues do you want to?
We had, unfortunately, over the last few summers, a couple of very serious drownings where people, passed away, kids. Swimming pools have to be properly locked, checked over that they're locked. No one can have entry. There's got to be an adult or a lifeguard or somebody watching kids at all times. A swimming pool is the best thing for a child, but at the same time, can be Rahman al-Islam, could be very, very hazardous. So these are things that, we have to be very, very careful.
Rabbi Davis, Ashrecha v'Gordel Schuscha.